The Joe Rogan Experience.
Isn't it history great though? Like to have all this stuff and go through all the different theories and fucking.
What's crazy with history is now we can see it. Before, people just told it. It wasn't until like the 20th century that really people saw it.
Yeah.
Before that, it was just people telling stories about stuff.
Who knows what's real? Like from the 1700s. And
they do their best to piece it together from multiple accounts, but it's really hard.
Well, that's the Bible, isn't it?
Oh, the Bible's even worse.
The Bible's, I mean, it's a bunch of stories.
But not just that, a bunch of stories translated.
That's what I'm saying from a shitload of people.
But for sure, it got translated and all that shit with the Bible. But for sure, in my heart, I'm 100. I believe it 100% that there is some stuff in the Bible that's the real shit. It comes from the real shit. It got distorted and translated and all that.
What do you mean by the real shit?
Like it's a manual on how to live your life right. You know what I mean? These are rules. Like maybe God is the idea. Maybe God is and Jesus is the frequency. You want to get in that frequency of life? Don't deceive anybody.
Don't kill each other.
Fuck each other up. Then you will be in that zone. That's what God is. Like maybe the book is a manual. It's got to be, because there's one thing. Like I said, I'm balls deep in trying to find the truth. Sometimes I'm wrong. Whatever. But a lot of guys. 3 different guys that I looked up to and asked for information because they were so into a certain area that I wasn't into. I'm like, tell me more. And they are like my mentors. At the end, dude, all of them, they're starting to look into the Bible. And I remember the first guy back in like 2005 when I was like full blown, like, against religion and all that. I would say, dude, what are you doing, dude? You showed me the way, and now you're looking into the Bible. And goes, I know it sounds crazy, but you gotta look into it too. This isn't just a book with crazy fairy tales. This is some real shit.
Well, what it is a historical account of the times of the people that lived back then, as best that they could tell it, translated down over thousands of years. So there's some absolute truths in the Bible, and there's some great guides to live your life. But there's also some nonsense.
For sure.
Walking on water and all that stuff.
Not just that.
Maybe ignore the nonsense.
God sicked 2 bears on these kids that were making fun of this dude for being bald.
There's like Jack and Jill stories, for sure. For sure.
If that's in there, you have to wonder how much of any of the original stories.
Well, if you look at mainstream history of like Catholicism, I grew up Catholic. You did too, right? Yeah. Catholic?
Christian.
Well, the mainstream story.
Name a branch.
Lutheran. Is that a branch?
No. What's the normal one?
Protestant. Protestant?
You're nothing.
Baptist. I'm nothing.
Presbyterian?
No. I'm a deist.
You're agnostic, right? You're not sure.
Deist.
What does that
I
mean?
believe there's a God, but I don't believe in like Jesus or.
Okay.
You think about there's a God, like what's the thought that comes through your head? Like what are you thinking when you say I think there's a God?
I just think there's a higher being.
A thing?
I don't know. I don't know. I think there's the energy in our body goes somewhere. There's something that makes us, like I can feel certain things like love or intuition, stuff like that. That has to be something, I think that goes somewhere. I don't think there's a heaven and hell.
Jordan Peterson has some really good advice on that. He said, whether or not you believe in a God, he goes, live as if God is real. And there's real benefits in that.
I believe that.
I think it really, if you really do have that kind of gratitude and humility that you're being watched over by a loving God, I think there's a benefit to thinking like that.
It's just about doing the right thing.
Yep.
It's all about how do we get the people to do the right thing. And I believe there's a God because a couple things. When I did DMT, I thought, okay, there's way more shit to this reality, this dimension that's out there,
seeing
for
all
sure.
the time.
And then the more I get into trying to find out what we're on and what this is all about, and then you look at the mainstream. I think someone created what we're in. Whatever you think this is.
Thinks assimilation.
I think this is something. I don't believe in simulation.
Me neither.
Why don't you believe in simulation?
There's no
bums me out. When you think about your kids and shit, that bums me out.
There's no evidence. But it could be true. It could be, but there's zero evidence.
Really smart people don't just say.
I don't go by consensus.
Not only is there evidence, but if you look at probability theory, what was that guy's name? That was the guy Nick Bostrom. we talked about it in depth, and he said, according to probability theory, it's more likely that we're in a simulation.
Maybe that's true.
Because the fact that
that's
simulations,
but that's like you measure, isn't it?
Almost inevitable. Unless we get disrupted by nature, unless we get hit with an asteroid or start a nuclear war, it's inevitable that technology reaches a point where simulation's possible.
Well, if you watch Rick and Morty, that's what it is.
Well, if simulation is real, then the simulation goes on forever in the space that everyone thinks there is.
It could be a wave of life.
Computer program?
No, it's not that simple. It's like it could be one of the facets of life. Like we could be creating a simulation just through culture and society, and that simulation is literally how we enter into another dimension. We're looking at it like it's some nonsense thing.
Yeah.
Like it's a simulation. Oh, it's just a simulation. It could literally be how dimensions are created. They're created by creativity and ingenuity and innovation over long periods of time with millions of people working in conjunction, different people figuring out processing power and coding and all these different things. And next thing you know, you've got these there's these virtual reality places. Like we have an Oculus out there that you could put on and you could do all these games. It's really fun. But there's some virtual reality places now that you go into a warehouse and you go through this whole thing. You know, there's a place that's in Disneyland, and there's another place down the street called Sandbox, and you play games.
Oh, there's an arcade, there's a VR arcade at the Westfield Mall. On Riverside, that's called.
There's one right here.
Parallel Universe.
Yes, but don't you think if we're in a simulation, and you believe we're in a simulation, if I was not right in the head, it'd be way easier for me to commit suicide if I just thinking this is a whole simulation.
But I mean,
it gets dark.
There's a lot of variables. Yeah. There's a lot of variables about why shouldn't I just do whatever I want if it's just a simulation.
If it's a simulation, it doesn't count.
I don't think it's that simple. I think all the rules apply. I think what they're trying to say is, if human beings keep going, we definitely will create a simulation. It's just a matter of time. So if that's the case, how do we know that we're not in one already? And we really don't. Every day we go to sleep, and every day we wake up, and we assume and we have faith that all that stuff that we remember is really how life went on before we were awake. But we really don't know. Really, you don't. When you black out and then come back to, who the fuck knows what's transpiring? Who knows where your consciousness goes? Who knows where you are? You're gone. 8 hours seems like a second. All of a sudden you're foggy, a couple minutes to wake up, and boom, where'd that time go? Where are you? Who are you? You're assuming that all of the stuff that you know and all the stuff that you experience is 100% real.
But what if it is real?
What do you mean? If the simulation is real?
No, what if the simulation isn't real and we are on this earth?
That's
and you are down
too.
for 8 hours?
Like when it comes to simulation theory.
No, yeah.
I think that's the odds of that are.
But the passing out is a bad example. But the good example is that we are within 100 years away from making something that's indiscernible from what we experience every day. And that's inevitable. It seems like just how people do it. And what I'm saying is that might literally be how your consciousness transforms into whatever next stage of existence there is. It might be something that human beings do, like a caterpillar makes a cocoon and becomes a butterfly. Human beings make crazy fucking technology. And I think that's one of the reasons why we're so invested in materialism. Everybody loves things. They love shiny things, especially the new ones. Oh, have you got the newest car? It's even faster. The newest computer has better graphics.
Newest shoes.
And as all this stuff, as we're paying for newer and better shit, it's fueling all this innovation, which making crazier and crazier technology until artificial intelligence, until we create something that you can't turn off.
Or you download your consciousness and you just you know, you can download into another body or another.
Simulation is. That might be what a simulation is. What a simulation might be is that when we open this up with sufficient power and technology and processing power, whatever you are might go into this thing.
That's a bit of a bummer, though, right?
I don't know.
When you think about it, like, let's say when you're 100 and finally the technology there, you just download your consciousness into another body. You just keep going. It's like, man, this is it. This is it. We don't go on. That's depressing as fuck to me.
It's kind of I mean, what are we? That's the thing. It's like, what the fuck are we? When we're thinking and talking, when you're thinking of yourself, like you, when you're using the word I am going to do this. What does that mean? Like, where are you? You're this strange being that's got a finite lifespan. It's not really that long.
Not at all.
You know, I mean, Eddie and I are middle-aged motherfuckers if we're lucky.
You're on the back. You're on the back nine.
We're in the back nine.
Yeah, I'm almost there.
Yeah, and then you die. So what is going on while you're alive? It's all guesswork, man. We don't know what this is, and everyone is involved in the guesswork, from the highest levels of government down to fucking the poorest people in the world. Everyone's guessing. It's all weird. It's all real weird, and it's all we're gonna die, and the next generation is gonna pick up, and the next generation after them is gonna pick up.
But life is because of technology and science. The average lifespan's going like this.
It is, but also you have more information. You can look at history. You can look at how long we've been here. The more they just found another asteroid impact from 800,000 years ago.
Jesus,
they knew we were hit 800,000 years ago, but now they've located the crater. It's like,
would you read that in the library?
Yes, I watched it on YouTube. It's becoming this. People are realizing like there's only been a short amount of time where human beings have even been human. We've only been human for 500,000 years at the most.
Sometimes that stuff bums me out, especially if you have kids.
It's weird. Well, but think about it this way: if you were a Neanderthal or a fucking Australopithecus, and you were told that your species is going to go extinct, you think of all the good times you had killing muskrats and cooking them over the fire with your kids and hiding from jaguars and shit. You think of all those good times, like we're not going to be us anymore. Like no.
So you think if this is a computer simulation, at what point? Like when did it start? Like in the 1800s, the 1600s, 200 AD, 5000 BC. When was the beginning of this simulation?
Who knows, man?
We don't know.
There's a video game where you create your own worlds.
SimCity, baby.
No, more crazy. There's a video game where you literally create a universe. You create a planet, you put things on it, and like, what is that game called again, Jamie? What is it?
Oddworld.
No Man's Sky?
Yeah. I think that's what you're talking about.
That could be what the universe is. I mean, the whole thing about the Big Bang. Like, the Big Bang means that the entire universe was smaller than the head of a pin at one point in time.
You know who
somewhere
made that
around.
up?
No, but hold on a second. So the universe, smaller than the head of a pin, boom, explodes, becomes everything. Well, what started that? Well, how do we not know that was
universe,
when somebody pressed start on a program?
How do we even know that even happened? Like the theory is billions of years ago, out of nothing, everything exploded.
What do you think happened?
Well, who came up with it?
Are you becoming religious on me?
You know who came up with it?
Oh, dude, if you start talking about Jesus, Eddie.
No, you know who came up with the Big Bang? You can look this up right now. The Big Bang is
Hitler?
a priest from the Vatican. A priest came up with that. It was a theory.
Scientist didn't?
Nope. A priest.
Are you sure?
1,000,000%.
So he was the first one. But
and I know I have a good idea why.
Why?
But that's going to take like 10 minutes. Can I have another one of these?
Yeah, please.
Get someone.
There's ice in that thing.
If we're in a simulation, you're talking about, the homeless guy or the kid starving in Ethiopia. Right. He's like, what the fuck, dude? Or the guy grinding his way out, or the single mother of 5 working at McDonald's. She's like, what kind of, who the fuck chose this?
Right.
What is going on here, man? So I feel like only people who are higher up and people that have money say we're in a simulation. Yes, the guy at McDonald's. I bet you there's not one dude working at McDonald's going, I think it's a simulation, dude.
That's true. But that's just because when you're struggling for survival, everything is more important. Like you're on the edge. But the thing about a guy like Elon Musk, who's one of the proponents of the simulation theory, the thing about a guy like him is he's got enough resources to relax a little bit, but also he is involved in technology every day, and he's probably one of the smartest people on earth, and he's financially stable. So he can stop and think about things in a way where he's not overburdened by, like, he has stresses for sure and obligations for sure, massive ones, 3 giant companies. But what he doesn't have is like survival stress about being poor or being in danger.
But also the level that where his IQ is so high, right? He's on a different frequency.
He might be too smart.
There's a lot of things where when he speaks, I go, yeah, he's smart as fuck. I don't agree with him. That's not.
Once I start seeing like organic matter, like body parts, and you watch it under like some
microscope.
Yeah, and you see some like computer numbers and stuff. Then I'd be like, oh shit.
What are you talking about? For
me to believe to take that we live in a computer simulation seriously, I'd have to see like evidence like that,
Well, if it is a computer simulation, Eddie, that means everything that's physical you're experiencing in a simulated way. Mm-hmm. So it could be everything. It could, like, if it's just your mind experiencing things that your mind translate as being physical sensations.
Real.
Why would it have numbers?
I get it, and maybe we do live in a simulation. I just don't see any evidence of it.
How about Callan said 3:30 though?
Oh yeah, we knew it. I told you.
I
said we're not waiting for him. It's 4:00 now. Yeah, look, I'm not saying that we're in a simulation. What I'm saying is I think things are a lot weirder than anybody wants to admit.
Or we're just overthinking it. Or there's so much information, the internet, and there's smart people. We're just overthinking everything. And there is no simulation.
There's that too.
Once you live your life, it's over, man. Lights out.
Could be.
Case
we want to think
That's
something. We want to think there's something next because we want to hope that our contributions are permanent and that we're gonna somehow or another come back in another life.
That's where kids come into play, right? Yep. Your seeds,
and also
like that.
The way you treat people and the things that you rub off on other people, and they start to carry it on